Welcome again to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about cytology vocabulary. We want to basically learn the words so we can understand the topic better. Let's begin. Cell. Cyto means cell. The basic unit or the smallest structure and function of living things. Prokaryotic. Pro means primitive or before. Karyo means nucleus. So cell without a nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. Eukaryotic. Eu means true, cell having a true nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. Unicellular. Uni means one, cellular means cell, having one cell or only one cell. Multicellular. Multi means many, having many cells. Diffusion. The movement of molecules from an area of greater concentration to an area of lesser concentration. Simply put, it's the movement of molecules from where they are crowded to where they are less crowded, kind of like being on a bus. You don't want to stay in the front of the bus where it's crowded and everybody pushing into you and squeezing every time the bus moves back and forth. So you move to the back of the bus where you have a little bit more elbow room. That's how molecules move. They're going to move from out of the kitchen to in the living room and the dining room and your bedroom because they want room to spread out. Osmosis is the same thing I said about diffusion. Movement of molecules from an area that's crowded to an area that's less crowded. But it's the movement of water, just water. Passive transport. Again, passive transport, diffusion. That word keeps popping up. Diffusion is basically passive transport. Trans mean across. Molecules will move across the cell membrane without energy. That's passive transport. Active transport is the opposite. For molecules to move across the cell membrane, energy is required. Kind of like pushing the bicycle up the hill. You need to pedal. Pinocytosis. Sounds like vino. Pino and vino. Vino is something that you drink, like wine. You drink wine, you don't eat wine. So pinocytosis is cell drinking. Taking in dissolved substances into the cell. While phagocytosis is the opposite. Phago is kind of like Pac-Man, where Pac-Man has to eat those little dots and the ghosts when they turn blue. So phagocytosis is cell eating, taking in undissolved particles into the cell. Organelle means small organ. Just like how your body has organs inside of it, your cells have organelles inside of them. So an organelle is a small organ that has a specific job. Cell or plasma membrane. It's a two-lipid layer structure. It's kind of like a sandwich. You have bread on the one side and bread on the other. But what makes up the bread? Proteins and lipids. And what would these two slices of bread do? Well, they allow materials to pass in and out of the cell. So that's the job of the cell membrane. Cytoplasm. I like to say it's a liquid and gel type of substance that's between the cell membrane and the nuclear membrane that contains most of the organelles. Because most of the organelles are located in the cytoplasm, you have most of the life processes like protein synthesis and respiration, like those things happens there. Nucleus, the control center of the cell, and not all cells have nucleus. Mature red blood cells don't. Okay, anyway, these are kind of like round structure when you talk about nucleus. Round structure inside of the cell that basically contains your genetic information, and it controls most of your cell activity. Nucleolus. It's kind of like a darker body, circular body inside of the nucleus. And the job of the nucleolus is just to create the little dots, ribosomes. The mighty mitochondria. Dun, 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 dun. I like to say these are the powerhouse of the cell. And why are they called the powerhouse of the cell? Because they make energy for the cell. They make ATP energy, to be exact. And keep in mind that your cells can only use ATP, not glucose. Ribosome. Dot. A little tiny dot. And even though it's a little tiny dot, ribosome, it pack a big punch because that's where proteins are made. Endoplasmic reticulum, the ER, the emergency room. Once you get into the emergency room, they don't send you back out of the hospital. They move you within the hospital to the proper department or floor, whatever. So it's kind of like the ER. That's how your endoplasmic reticulum works. The endoplasmic reticulum is basically a network of channels that basically makes and transport materials within the cell. Golgi body, my UPS guy. And just like the UPS guy that brings your package to your house, that's kind of like how the Golgi body works. Okay, so organelle that produces, packages, and secretes materials from the cell. Kind of like my UPS guy. They make boxes, right? The UPS company. They make boxes. They package them for you. If you're too lazy to do it, you pay them and they do it for you. And they also send them out so they can go from one state to another. Anyway, so that's how my Golgi body works. Just like the UPS guys. Okay? The vacuole is like the vacuum cleaner. I like to clean just like the vacuole. The vacuole will take in things like water, food, waste, and maybe even enzymes. Okay, so they're a round shaped structure that stores material. Centriole, cylindrical cell structure that helps in cell division, and they're only found in animal cells, not plant cells. Lysosome. Lysis means to break, soma means body. So I guess you can say these are like kind of like round bodies, right? So a lysosome would be kind of like a circular structure that contains enzymes, digestive enzymes. And these digestive enzymes will break down like worn out cell parts. Cell wall. Cell wall is basically rigid outer layer of the plant cell that is made up of cellulose that cannot be digested. And that rigid structure basically gives the plant cell its shape. Chloroplast. Chloro means green, like the green body. What's inside of the chloroplast? Chlorophyll. And remember what the chlorophyll does? It traps the sunlight so that photosynthesis can happen. So I'd like to call the chloroplast the food factory. And I think this is it. Thank you so much for watching my YouTube channel. Join me again. That's all for now.